I'm Heidi. Standing in the wreckage of my once pristine living room, I was filled with a mix of shock and determination. My sister, Lily, sat there, munching on chips, looking as if she owned the place. The room that used to be my haven was now a disaster area, with toys strewn everywhere, food stains on the sofa, and a general air of chaos. Lily smirked at me. Mom and Dad said I could move in. If you've got a problem with it, go ahead and call the cops. Her words were like a punch in the gut. Let me take you back to how I got here. I'm an interior designer, having built my reputation from scratch in Miami. I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, where my parents, Tom and Grace, were simple folks. Dad was a hard-working mechanic, and Mom was a schoolteacher. They were well-meaning but didn't quite understand the world I'd built for myself. From a young age, I was drawn to the creative world. I spent countless hours poring over design magazines and sketching ideas. In my early 20s, I moved to Miami to pursue my dreams. It was tough at first. I worked long hours, taking on any job I could get, from small home renovations to helping out at larger design firms. But my hard work paid off. I eventually launched my own design firm. I started getting clients from the upper echelons of South Florida society. My second home, overlooking South Beach, was a testament to my success. It was a minimalist white space, filled with art and furniture I'd collected from around the world. Every time I walked through the door, it filled me with inspiration. However, I wasn't one to rest on my laurels. I had my sights set on expanding to the West Coast, specifically Beverly Hills. Opening a design studio and gallery there would require a significant amount of capital. After careful consideration, I decided to rent out my Miami penthouse and use the rental income to fund the expansion. I reached out to Mark Johnson, a property manager I'd worked with before and trusted implicitly. I asked him to find me the perfect tenant who would respect the space. I also had my attorney, Lisa Thompson, draft a comprehensive lease agreement to protect my interests as the property owner. I believe that in business, documentation and contracts are key. You can never be too careful when it comes to protecting your assets. To ensure the penthouse was in top-notch condition, I renovated the entire interior and installed a state-of-the-art security system. A few weeks later, the place was gleaming, looking like a 5-star hotel suite. I was confident that everything was in place, and all I needed was the right renter. One weekend, I drove to visit my parents. They lived in a modest house in the suburbs. I told them about my plan to rent out the penthouse. Dad was proud. That's amazing, Heidi. I'm so proud of you, honey. But Mom frowned. Rent it to strangers? That beautiful home? Isn't that risky? I reassured her. Don't worry, Mom. I've got a management company handling it, and my lawyer is overseeing everything. It'll be fine. Just then, Lily walked in with her 3 kids, Max, Ava, and Noah. She must have been eavesdropping. Heidi's renting out her place, she said with feigned surprise. The kids immediately started running around, jumping on the couch and making a mess. Lily's face lit up. Oh, perfect. Then you can rent it to us. I was taken aback. To you? I asked. She continued, our apartment is so cramped now that the kids are growing. And your penthouse is in a great school district. It'd be perfect for their education. I calmly but firmly told her, Lily, this is business. The rental income is part of my investment strategy. Her eyes widened. Rent? You're seriously going to charge us rent? She exclaimed. Mom jumped to Lily's defense. Heidi, how can you say that? Lily is your sister, raising 3 kids. You could help her out. I was getting frustrated. Help her out? This is my property, my business. It's not charity. Dad tried to mediate. Let's all calm down. But Lily exploded. Heidi, you don't understand. You have no idea how hard it is to raise 3 kids. All you care about is making money. You've never had to worry about bills like we do. I was stunned by her words. She had no idea how many late nights I'd spent working, how many risks I'd taken to build my business. You wouldn't understand, I said. Lily's voice turned shrill. You live in your fancy apartment, doing what you love and making tons of money. What's wrong with helping family? You're greedy, Heidi. Mom added fuel to the fire. She's right. You can help your family. That's what family is for. I almost laughed. What they were suggesting was not generosity but entitlement. I stood firm. That's enough. This conversation is over. My decision stands. As I turned to leave, Lily screamed at my back, "Don't you dare walk away, you ungrateful brat." A few days later, Mark called me with great news. "Heidi, we've had several inquiries, but there's a couple I think would be perfect. Both are doctors, with solid backgrounds and excellent references. They love your design aesthetic. Would you be willing to meet them and show the place?" I was thrilled. A pair of doctors would be ideal tenants. Absolutely, Mark. Set up the appointment, I said without hesitation. The showing was scheduled for Friday afternoon. At 2 o'clock that day, I met Mark and the Johnsons, Dr. Alex Johnson and his wife, Dr. Sarah Johnson, in the lobby of my penthouse building. Alex was a calm and refined gentleman, and Sarah radiated intelligence and grace. I knew right away that they were the perfect fit. We took the private elevator up. Mark explained the building's security features as we rode. This place means a lot to me. I designed it right after starting my firm. It's where it all began, I said. When we reached the living room door, I placed my finger on the smart lock scanner. "I'm sure you'll love it," I said confidently. But as the door opened, I was met with a nightmare. The Italian glass coffee table was pushed to the side, covered with junk food wrappers. The white leather sofa was hidden under a gaudy blanket, and the floor was littered with toys. And there sat Lily, in sweatpants, munching on chips and watching TV. Time seemed to stand still. Mark's face went pale, and the Johnsons looked confused and uncomfortable. Lily glanced up. "Oh, hey, Heidi. Didn't expect you today." I asked, "What are you doing here?" She replied, "I told you. Mom and Dad gave me permission. If you don't like it, call the police." Dr. Johnson cleared his throat awkwardly. "Perhaps we should reschedule," he said quietly to Mark. I apologized. "I'm terribly sorry. This is completely unauthorized. Please, give me a moment." The Johnsons and Mark retreated to the elevator. Once they were out of earshot, I turned to Lily. "Get out, now." She laughed. "Or what? You're going to throw your own sister out on the street with 3 kids? Mom and Dad would never forgive you." That's when I snapped. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? There's an unauthorized person in my property. I need police assistance for a trespassing situation. Lily's face changed. You're not serious. I gave the dispatcher my address, name, and a calm description. When I hung up, Lily was furious. You called the cops on your sister? You're insane. I replied, I'm protecting my property. The police will be here soon. Panic flashed across her face. Mom and Dad gave me permission. I retorted, they don't own this property. I do. Within 15 minutes, 2 officers arrived. I showed them my documents and explained that Lily had no lease and entered illegally. Officer Mike Davis listened and then turned to Lily. Ma'am, do you have documentation showing legal right to be here? Lily stammered about family and our parents' permission, but the officer cut her off. Without owner consent, this is trespassing. Gather your belongings and leave immediately, or we'll arrest you. I asked, where are the kids? Lily said, they're in the bedroom, her face crumpling. I found Max, Ava, and Noah huddled on the bed, scared and confused. My heart ached for them. I called my parents. Mom answered right away. Heidi, what's happening? Lily texted that you called the police. I said, that's right. She broke into my property. The officers are here. Come get the kids now. Mom was shrill, how could you do this to your sister? I replied, I did what she told me to. She said call the police if I didn't like it, so I did. This wouldn't have happened if you hadn't given her my key without permission. Mom was indignant, are you blaming me? You're abandoning your sister. I was firm, she's a grown woman and a mother. She's responsible for her actions. Your kindness turned her into a taker. I heard Mom gasp. Lily stared at me, her face drained of color, as the officer stood beside her. You will never again step into my life or touch my property without my explicit permission. From now on, you and Dad will take full responsibility for Lily and her children. Our little family game is over. I ended the call. I turned to Officer Davis and said calmly, my parents will be here soon to pick up the children. Here's their contact information. The officers nodded and informed Lily that she was being taken into custody for trespassing. As they escorted her out, the kids' cries filled the room. I knelt down and said gently, it's going to be okay. Grandma's coming to get you soon. Ava was still sobbing, and I stroked her back. About 30 minutes later, my parents arrived, pale and out of breath. Mom rushed to the kids, gathering them in her arms. Dad stood there, looking at the destroyed living room and me. Heidi, what have you done? He asked through clenched teeth. I replied evenly, I protected what belongs to me according to the law. What's wrong with calling the police on trespassers? Dad said, they're your family. I cut him off, I've heard that word enough. Have you ever thought about how much I've sacrificed for your so-called family? Lily became who she is because you both spoiled her. Mom glared at me, you're no daughter of ours. Strangely, I felt no pain. Instead, I felt a sense of relief. You're probably right, I said quietly. I watched as they left, closing the door behind them. The silence in the room was absolute. I stood there, looking at the mess they'd left. It was like a sickness had finally been purged. That day, I called a locksmith and had all the locks changed. I then grabbed garbage bags and started throwing away everything that belonged to them. The next morning, I called Mark. He was mortified. Heidi, I'm so sorry for what happened yesterday. I've tried to smooth things over with the Johnsons, but I'm afraid. I cut him off, I know, Mark. Regaining their trust will be difficult. He said firmly, absolutely not. Your composure was remarkable. I'm not losing a client like you over this. Let me handle it. I'll find you the perfect tenants this time. His words gave me a small sense of relief. There were still people in the world who respected contracts and boundaries. Within a week, I flew to Beverly Hills and finalized the lease on my new studio location. I had enough capital to move forward without the Miami rental income. It proved that I could stand on my own. A few weeks later, Mark called with excitement. Heidi, I found the perfect tenants. They're French tech executives who just relocated. They love the house and are offering 2 times the market rate, 2 years in advance. 6 months into my Beverly Hills life, my Aunt Rose called from France. She was the only family member I truly respected, having built her own successful business in Europe. Heidi, darling, I saw your new studio in a magazine. It looks amazing. After some small talk, her tone softened. I heard about what happened in Miami. You must have been through a lot. I said steadily, it's over now, Aunt Rose. She continued, it's about Lily. She avoided formal charges because it was her first offense and she has young children. But her life hasn't recovered. The family found out about the police involvement, and no one wants to help her anymore. Her landlord refused to renew her lease after neighbor complaints. Even your parents are keeping their distance because of the embarrassment. I listened silently. Aunt Rose said, Heidi, you did the right thing. You're not obligated to sacrifice your life for a so-called family. You have every right to protect your happiness and build your own life. Those were the words I'd waited my whole life to hear. I no longer see the Miami house as a sanctuary. It's just property now, part of my portfolio. My real sanctuary is within me, where no one can invade. Blood doesn't make family. True family respects your life and stands beside you, not on top of you.